Hi everyone, I'm Steve, and as you may be able to tell from my hat, I make video games for a living. This is my boring kid sermon, and I'm really excited to talk with you all today. Now, you may be wondering why I'm so excited to talk with you about a boring kid sermon, but I'm hopeful that this won't actually be as boring as it sounds. When I was younger, one thing I absolutely couldn't wait for was summer vacation. No more homework, no more tests, just all the basketball, playtime with my friends, and video games that my little brain can handle. The only problem with all the fun things that I had planned was that one, I couldn't play basketball forever, and believe me, I tried. Two, eventually, my friends and I would have to return to our respective homes, and the playtime would end. And three, as much as I loved and still love my video games, thank you for this one, Cozy. It was super cool. Once I'd completed one or made substantial progress in another, or maybe my parents just plain told me no video games for that particular day, I'd ultimately be left with nothing to do, which would lead to that dreaded state of boredom. And this is what I wanted to help with. What can we do when we're bored? And also, maybe being as bored isn't as bad as it sounds. And here's a few things I did as an example. When I was bored, I had a few go-to hobbies that ultimately turned into passions that I still use today for both my home life and my work life. A few hobbies that I enjoyed were drawing, animating with flip books, and building with Lego. I still love Lego today, and let's see, here's this super cool robot that my daughter Eve, who's also super cool, made for me, and here's this super rad spaceship that my super rad son Echo also made for me some time ago. I used to build anything from cars with detailed engines inside to spaceports with multiple spaceships and docking stations. Later, that turned to me combining my passions for Lego and video games into one effort, where I created things like this blurry old picture is a supersized version of a video game character from the late 80s and early 90s, and it took me about 6 hours to make. Also this, in that same studio I was working on this really cool old video game called Lego Universe. And then more recently, here's a special project that I've been working on for quite a few years now in my spare time. Now, a lot of you kiddos who find yourselves getting bored more often than not without your classmates and teachers around all the time may find it helpful to just come up with a list of things to do for when you get bored, because we all know it's going to happen. Here's a quick example of a list of activities to help get you started. You know, if you're younger, maybe it could be things like building a fort, or playing with Lego, or similar building toys. You know, Lincoln Logs, is that still a thing? Magnetiles, there's all kinds of cool building toys. You can work on a color or crafting project. You can call a friend or a family member. I promise they would love to hear from you. If you're a little older, I mean, really, all those I just said still work. You could draw pictures of your favorite pet, TV character, video game character, combine all three of those into one. You could work on puzzles. We sometimes get a giant 1,000-piece puzzle, and we just leave it sitting in our living room for days or weeks at a time, and every once in a while we'll come down and make progress on it. Read a book from your favorite series. Practice at a sport or musical instrument, even if it's your first time trying. You got to start somewhere. Anyway, that's the time that I have for right now. Hopefully you all enjoyed my message on boredom today and why it's not actually as bad as it sounds, and hopefully you can come up with your own fun activities to do while school's out for the summer. Thanks, everyone.
All right, good morning, Peace fam. I'm excited for another watch party today. I hope you're enjoying yourself and looking forward to time together to gather and discuss. I find myself continually thankful for the Peace of Christ community and the ways that we find to be together, such as these watch parties, being able to spend time in each other's homes, sharing meals, sharing good times, and just have some time to sit and chat and discuss what we're talking about, what we're looking at in scripture and what we're looking at as we examine the world around us. And right now we're in the midst of our series examining our faith histories, the people who are a part of them, and how that has helped to make us into the individuals and community that we are today. Honest reflection is hard, but it's good for us. It allows us to take stock not only of what values are important, but understanding why they are important. There's a couple texts that I'm using today, and they're going to be available to you in the host home, watch party home that you're in. The host should have those in the email that has the questions with them this morning, and so you'll be able to kind of read those. Their particular translations that I hope once you read them, you'll kind of see how they guided my sermon this morning. So in both the psalm and the reading from First Thessalonians, again, that you'll have the opportunity to read, we get this really beautiful understanding of the mother love that God has for her people. And I'm reminded of two times in my life that I've experienced that mother love that I've never been able to quite move on from. They've stuck with me for different reasons, and I think my hope would be that you have had some of those experiences as well, that you have these moments where for whatever reason, right, that mother love, that experience, your body, your mind, your heart hasn't been able to forget those things. And so when I was 8 years old, I was outside on a chilly October evening and was chatting with our parish priest, Father Arthur, at the chili cook-off at our church. This was an annual event. I have really fond memories of it, but particularly this time. And quite frankly, I don't know how I know that I was 8 years old. I just remember at one point recently kind of tracking that back. That's how old I was, and this is one of the first moments that I recall feeling what I would much later come to know as a call to ministry, seeing Father Arthur's caller as he was talking to me, and understanding that it was something that was different, that set him apart, that marked to me that he did something different than the other adults that I knew. So much like the disciples didn't fully understand the divinity of Jesus all the time, they wanted to live like him in a way that the followers lived like their rabbis in that day and time. I wanted to be like Father Arthur. I wanted to be someone who was different, who people knew and could trust and could count on and could share love with them, because I look back now and I recognize some things that I think we tend to kind of, I know I do, associate a little bit with that divine feminine energy that I see in him, and have memories of the mother love that he showed with empathy and by the simple act of listening. That was something that he did often. His tone was even and steady, and his smile was kind. He was a presence of the Lord in my life before I really knew what that was. 10 years later, almost to the day as it turns out, when I was 18, I'd discharged from the Navy, and after a 3-day stay in boot camp and a month in the separation process, I was living at home and kind of at a loss for what to do. While my mother did not give me any kind of ultimatums or make demands of me, she encouraged me to find work of some kind. She mentioned to me that a friend of hers who owned a local bookstore was hiring for the holiday season and I should go apply. So I did, and I sat for an interview with her, and she offered me the job. I worked there for 4 months through the holiday season. It was the first job that I ever had. I can look back on it now and realize there may have been an agreement in place to hire me. That was my mother provision before I understood how important that would be. This is at a time then my relationship with my mother wasn't positive and strong, but she continued to see opportunities to help provide for me out of love, out of caring, out of kindness. Father Arthur is certainly a faith ancestor of mine. He's many years gone now. The care and gentle kindness that he showed others lives on not only in me, but I'm sure in many others, like the little lights that live on beyond us that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about. The actions that we take, the words that we speak are lights that we pass on that continue on long after we're gone. My mother isn't an ancestor in the traditional sense yet, and that she's still living, but she passed on her faith to me in a way that has given me a lifelong curiosity to pursue it. More than that, she at least in some way helped me find that first financial provision that allowed me to do the work that felt important to me. I can get lost in the weeds of my faith ancestors, wanting to go back and back and back, find the wrongs and talk about how people should have known better. And there may be a time and a place for that. For now, though, it's better for me to sit with these ancestors who are still here with me and who I can still remember the timbre of their voice. My hope for us now, as we move into some time to chat and reflect, is that we'll think and talk fondly of those who have gone before us, those further along in the journey, or even those whose purpose in our life was for a time that is no longer. You'll have a good morning.